Hi, everybody. This is going to be an unprecedented effort to figure out the inner workings of the brain. We know actually very little about how the brain works. Scientists at any particular moment can see only about 200 neurons, while we have 100 billion neurons. And this new project is meant to develop the tools that are necessary to see that and do it in real time, to figure out how people think, how they learn, how they behave. If I say, Amber, think of your mother's face, it instantly comes to you. Right. But we don't know how the cells talk and collaborate to pull it up instantly. This kind of project will have huge health consequences. They think that it'll help with things like Alzheimer's disease, autism, epilepsy. It'll enable them to see how cells work or don't work when things go wrong in the mind, and how things work when the mind is healthy.
Yeah, but Gary, everything you're saying assumes that all this money and all this research will ultimately provide the answers. What if it doesn't provide the answers?
They had the same question about the Human Genome Project and the moonshot. So what the president is saying here is that the tools to do these things that we're talking about don't exist today. But that didn't stop the Apollo project, and that didn't stop the human genome.
Yeah, but why does the government invest in these sorts of things today?
Yeah,
well, the government has always invested in these kind of grand scientific efforts. The lunar program, the genome project, CERM, you as California taxpayers, the stem cell initiative, we're paying $3 billion. So government has always done it. Now what will be done here is they're going to seed the basic research. But a lot of that money, but there's a private partnership here that's unusual. Paul Allen is throwing in like $300 million. Howard Hughes Institute is throwing a lot of money. The Salk Institute is going to throw in $28 million and become a major partner. Now, we don't know exactly where all of Salk's money is coming from, but a lot of it will be private money.
My question is this. When President Obama says, I said in the State of the Union address that we're going to fund research and development because that's going to create jobs and that's going to add to the middle class. How does everything that he's talking about, $300 billion investment into understanding the brain, how does that do what he's talking about?
Well, let me give you a simple example. Let's say that you're a grad student at the Salk Institute. The government kind of gives you the seed money to give that basic money for the research. But you're a grad student, and you can go anywhere. So you're going to go out and start up a new company with venture capital. And that company is going to thrive, and it's going to hire a lot more people. That's if things work right. But that's been the story of San Diego County, where there's been more than 3,000 startups over time. Most of that money doesn't come from the government, although a lot of it started with the government. It comes from venture capitalists, or you putting up your own money to develop something.
Why is it so expensive? I mean, what's the overhead? I understand that there's a lot of people involved, but...
All right, there's a tremendous amount of people. Basic research is very expensive because the equipment that you use and the number of people that you need. For example, I just mentioned that we look at a couple of hundred neurons at one time. The piece of equipment to do that costs $1 million. Just that one piece of equipment. So the idea here is to do what they did with the Human Genome Project, where you throw a lot of money in and they develop new tools, and the cost of the tools crashes. So when science sequenced the genome, it would have cost tens of millions of dollars to sequence just your genome. That's in 2007. Today it costs $2,000 because of companies like Illumina and Life Technologies here in San Diego County. They did a lot of the money on their own. So they built off what the government invested. They created their own private companies, and they're thriving. Ideally, that's what the Brain Project is about.
When's the payoff? I mean, do they say, here we're investing this kind of money today,
how
and
many
we expect
years
answers by this time?
or months is it going to take?
So they're talking about going from 200 neurons to 1 million neurons over a period of roughly a decade. Now, the Human Genome Project was somewhat similar than that. So you're not talking about it turning tomorrow, but over time, over a decade.
All right, well, big announcement then. I mean, the science community must be buzzing, especially here in San Diego.
Doing backflips over this.
Yeah, wow, a lot of money being pumped into this project, and a lot of San Diegans who will be actively involved, whether it's the Salk Institute, UCSD, Qualcomm is apparently heavily involved. So, all right, good. More to come. Gary, look forward to an update on this. This is really great stuff. Thank you very, very much.